So, George Floyd's funeral service, memorial service, is happening right now, and he'll be buried today. And I won't talk about that today, but if you have a chance to watch it, it's quite interesting. At the point right now, Reverend Al Sharpton is speaking. Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about today was my experience yesterday, which was I had my 4th colonoscopy. So I really encourage people to get colonoscopies because if they find something and they can treat it, it will save your life. It's an interesting process. The day before, you clear everything out, yeah, and then you go in. You have the procedure. At the end of the procedure, they give you a sheet for follow-up instructions, and the sheet also has pictures in it of different parts of your colon. So I was thinking when I was looking at those pictures, that the next time somebody looks at me and says, "You're full of shit," I'm going to show them the pictures and say, "No, I'm not." Because when you have done the prep beforehand, you're not full of shit anymore. Okay, but that's not the point of my talk. The point of my talk, what I wanted to say, was reflecting on the kindness of others, and when I went into the hospital yesterday, and, they take you up to the place where you do some more prep in the thing. By the way, I didn't have anesthesia. I don't like taking anesthesia when I don't have to, and it was fine without it. But you get in there, and then the nurses are asking you all sorts of questions, and you really feel like somebody's interested in you. Do you have this kind of physical problem? Do you have allergies? Is anybody in your family allergic to anesthesia? These kinds of things. Lots of questions. So it's like, oh, somebody's interested in me. Of course, these questions aren't so interesting. That's not the kind of personal interest that's really good. But anyway, they're asking you questions. And then, they have to, even though I wasn't having anesthesia, they like to put the IV thing in. And of course, there's some problems. So I have a big bump here because I have small veins and you're dehydrated and it was hard to get it in. But they're doing that, and then they put things on you to check your heart rate. And she wanted me to have oxygen as a comforting measure. And the nurses were just amazing because, they were saying, what more can we do for you to make you comfortable? And, it's like every 10 minutes they're coming and saying, "How are you? Are you okay?" And this was before I even went in and had the surgery. And then they bring a heated blanket, so you feel like you're just like cuddle up and cozy. That was the first heated blanket. Once I went into the room, where it's at, they brought another heated blanket. Yeah. And when I came out after, the procedure, then checking my vitals and am I okay and do I feel dizzy? And, if you have to pass air, do that because they inflate your colon with air. And people just taking such good care. And it was, I didn't expect that at all. I expected kind of, well, this is business. You come in, okay, they stick an IV, they, kind of ask you some questions, send you in, stick something up you, and there you go. But, the nurses, this is at our community hospital, Newport Hospital and Health Services, and the nurses and the doctors, everybody were so caring and so wonderful. It really made quite a difference, yeah. So it made me think about how to be supportive to people, yeah, because they knew the right thing to say at the right time that helped somebody who was going to have a colonoscopy, yeah. So it made me think, if we want to help people, you have to know the right thing to say at the right time. And different people have different things that make them feel supported. Yeah. When I went in for the procedure, when Dr. Jones took over, he said at the very beginning, do you want to talk or do you want us to leave you alone? That was the right question to ask. Yeah, because I actually wanted to be left alone, but I wanted to also know what was going on. So I said to him, tell me what's going on, when it's going on. And I looked at the pictures and I asked him some questions. But it was exactly the right thing, because sometimes I go to the doctor and they're talking the whole time that they're examining me. I don't feel comfortable because I want them to focus on what they're doing, not on chit-chatting with me. And I can't do that, seriously, focus on something while I'm chit-chatting. Yeah, but these doctors, they never ask, yeah, do you want to chit-chat or do you want to be quiet during the exam? Yeah, but that's an important question to ask, and I really appreciated it. And then I could say that. Yeah. So to know okay. So some people would probably say, I want to chit chat during the colonoscopy. So that's great. That is supporting those people in that way to feel comfortable. Other people like me, that, we don't want chit chat during it. Yeah. So you have a difference among people about, in the same situation, what is supporting one person is not what would support another person. Okay, so that's one thing, seeing the difference among people about what is seen as giving kindness or what is seen as supportive. That we all aren't the same way. Yeah. Then thinking, even with one person, what makes them feel supported in one situation is not going to make them feel supported in another situation. Okay? And so being able to tune in to what kind of situation somebody's in and what's going to help them in that situation and what won't help them. But the same action may help them in another situation. Okay? So, let's think of a good example. So let's say I don't feel well and I'm supposed to be giving a talk. If somebody came and said, it's okay, relax, don't speak if you don't feel well, then I would feel, oh, that person understands. I feel their kindness. If I'm at a meeting and I want to speak and make a point, and somebody says, you don't need to speak, and interrupts me, same action, but I don't feel supported at all. I feel cut off. Okay? So it made me really think, if I want to support people, how to tune in to individual needs that may be different in the same situation, and to one individual's different needs in different situations. Yeah. So it really involves, I think, slowing down I think it involves two things. One is I think the more we're in tune with ourselves, the easier it is to understand where somebody may be at a certain point, or where they may not be at. Okay? So, for example, I did the colonoscopy without anesthesia. It would not be very good if every time my friends were going in for colonoscopies, I said to them, don't have anesthesia, you don't need it. Yeah, I don't think that would be very kind, because that's an individual choice according to how each individual relates to their own body. It's not for me to tell somebody what they should do, what's good and what's bad. Okay? So the more I think we understand ourselves, it gives us that ability to maybe tune into what others may need or may not need, okay, in a situation. And then also, not only tuning into our own mind, the way we operate, but also slowing down to really pay attention to what other people are saying, to pay attention to their facial expressions, their body language, because people can tell us a lot by verbal means and by nonverbal means about what would make them feel comfortable or cared for or supported at a particular time. But to recognize those kind of signals, we need to slow down and pay attention to what's going on with other people and not be so wrapped up in what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, the way I think things should be, but to pay attention to what's going on with other people. Yeah. And I remember years ago reading something about, what was it called? Neuropsychology, something with your eye movements. Does anybody remember what that was called? Anyway, a way of kind of being able to see what's going on with somebody when they're moving their eyes. Yeah? When because lots of times we'll kind of look upwards. When we're looking upwards, we're trying to access something that we remembered. Yeah? Sometimes when we're looking downwards, we're feeling something very deeply. So to watch where somebody's looking. Are they looking at you? Are they looking up? Are they looking down? Yeah. Are they fidgeting? Are they breathing quickly? Yeah, if people are breathing quickly, it could be a health thing. It could also be that they're nervous or they're anxious. Yeah, if people are breathing slowly, it could be that they're more relaxed. Yeah, so all these kinds of things that can give us information about how other people are feeling. And it can also be helpful to us to identify what's going on with ourselves at a certain time. Like people who are like this, you know people like this? And their feet are moving all the time, and their fingers are moving all the time, and they're twitching, it's like, okay, that tells you something about that person. Yeah? And even though they're totally unaware of it, people who bounce their knee, they're totally unaware of it. But it's telling you. So if we can look and see, when am I bouncing my knee? When am I picking at my nails? Okay? And it can give us information about ourselves. When am I breathing quickly? When am I breathing slowly? Yeah. When am I looking at people? Yeah. When am I looking up? When am I looking down? When am I looking away and talking to somebody over here because I don't want to look at somebody over there because I feel uncomfortable doing so? Okay? So all these are kinds of things to give us more information. And then when we have the motivation to be of service, to help people and be able to give them what they need at a particular time, we'll be more tuned in and be able to do that. Okay? So we may not change the world this way. Yeah, there's many ways to help people. And we all have our own individual ways of doing it, our own individual abilities. And we need all of those individual abilities, and but this is just one way, I think, to get us to slow down and pay attention to what's going on. Yeah, because it's interesting. Lots of times people with big ways to change the world, yeah, but they're not paying attention to what's going on inside themselves while they're doing that. If we can in some way help them pay attention to what's going inside, it's a small way, but it can support them and really help them be very clear in how they are benefiting others. Okay, and here I think a lot about NVC, nonviolent communication, where lots of times when we're talking to people, we may say things like, "Are you feeling this and that?" Or do you mean this and that? We try and rephrase what we hear them saying. And sometimes for, those people who have big potential and can influence a lot of people, if our saying that kind of stuff can help them get in touch with what's going on in here, which will help their external work, yeah? Or maybe it's somebody who causes a lot of problems for other people. They have a lot of power to cause problems for other people. If we can help them get in touch with what's going on in here, they may not be taking it out on other people. Yeah, I recently watched a TED Talk given by a black cop, and in his department, they had done something on emotional intelligence and teaching the officers how to recognize what they were feeling. And he was a sergeant, in the guy giving the talk, and he said, if you're not in touch with what you're feeling, it's going to come out in how you police other people. Because if you're an officer and you're going through a divorce and your child's acting out in school, and your mother's sick, and you don't recognize the emotional toll that is taking on you, that is going to come out in your work. So whether you're a police officer or a teacher or a doctor, no matter what we're doing, if we lack that self-awareness, instead of being able to benefit others, our afflictions will manifest, because that's what we habitually do when we're in pain, is go to anger or greed. Okay? So I think these are all ways through being in touch with ourselves that we can help other people. Yeah? Okay.